everyone. Good evening to one and all present here. I'm Santhya from MTT. I welcome all the participants on this Saturday evening to our webinar with a small quote. The best and most beautiful things in the world cannot be seen or even touched. They must be felt with the heart. Said by a great personality, Helen Keller. Now, I would like to introduce our platform, My Trusted Tutor is a marketplace for private tutor, school teachers, corporate trainers, academicians, educators, and all kind of education professionals. Our mission is to make quality education easily and affordably available to all. Currently, we MTT have conducted 75 plus webinars, and now we are in recruitment process as well for the post of teachers. Along with MTT, I would like to introduce our speaker of the day, Rahmat Sultana. She is here for conducting session on the topic Understanding Children and Their Emotional Needs. Our speaker Rahmat Sultana is an educationist, counseling psychologist, behavior and hypnotherapist, life coach and trainer. Rahmat ma'am is the founder and director of Creative Hues Counseling Studio, Hyderabad. She also works in a top inclusive school as a counselor and a special educator. Our speaker has been working as an educationist for more than 18 years and experienced in educating children from pre-primary to senior school level. Rahmat ma'am believes in developing individuals holistically, making them live a happier and more contented life. Now we came to an end to the introduction.
Thank you, Sandhya and the team MMT for this opportunity to speak on this very important and sensitive topic.
Yes, ma'am.
And this is my most favorite. And today I'm going to share my learning experience. And I know it's a huge subject, uh, but I'll do my best to have you understand and have a great takeaway from this webinar. And please kindly requesting once again to keep all your mics mute, and your questions, if any, will be answered at the end of the session. Now, in this webinar, we'll be understanding what are emotions, and the emotional needs of children. Now, what will happen if these needs are unmet, and how can it be fulfilled? Understanding and fulfilling emotional tanks and knowing primary love languages. So let's start with, what are emotions? My question to you all, if you can share your uh, answers on what are emotions. Basically, human beings, they develop, and the growth of development is of four different aspects, and all these areas are interconnected, and if one is effective, the others also get influenced by it. So the basic four areas are social, physical, intellectual, and emotional development. Now, we as parents, as teachers, we put our major focus on our child's intellectual and physical development, whereas emotional and social development is just as important as the physical and the intellectual development. Each child, or each individual, I rather put it, needs some emotional stability and want to feel happy and safe. Now, if I put a question to you all, what according to you, there are students also here, so what are emotions according to you? Can you just put your answers in the chat box?
Participants, yes, ma'am. They have texted. Can you see it, ma'am? Or
No,
shall
I
I read it?
can't.
Okay,
Yeah,
ma'am.
you need to read it
Kushida,
out.
yes, Kushida is saying that feeling which can't be expressed. Or
Okay,
Farhan Nafis is saying that feelings. Manal ma'am is saying feelings of joy, hate, anger.
good.
Amrin ma'am is saying that feelings.
Yes. Now, emotions are feelings that we experience. You feel them through your senses. Now, what you see, what you hear, what you remember, and what you do, that gives us information about what we are experiencing. Now, feeling such as happy, sad, scared, anger, and there are many more. Okay. Now, how we feel now, like whatever, like our feelings, how we feel is measurable. The intensity of a feeling is measurable. It can be strong, okay. It can be mild. It can be moderate, depending upon the intensity, the emotion that you are facing, the situation that you are in. Now, emotions can be good, it can be bad as well. Emotions can be positive and as well as negative. Now, it can, negative emotions are the emotions which can lock you and freeze your thoughts. Emotions are that energy that either take you to heights or destroy your complete well-being. So it is really very important to handle the emotions of the children in a very better way. So according to children, now how they feel, they can feel, but they cannot express verbally because of their vocabulary. All feelings are valid. Now children must learn how to control and feel. Now, as a society, as elders, as adults, we have some expectations. Now, children should behave the way they have to behave in certain, environments you take them to. If they go to mall, there's a kind of behavior they have to be in. If you take the child to a guest, to your relative's house, to your boss house, or anywhere you take in the school, there is an expectation of their behavior, that how they have to uh, behave or feel. Now, suppose if a child is feeling like very sad, you can't ask the child like to cry. You can't let the child cry. Then you just stop. You control the child. You don't let them take out their emotions. Suppose you have taken your child to one of your guest house, to one of your relatives house. They're like they are being served with some cakes and all. Now there is a last piece and your child want that, and there is another child, the same child also want that someone that last piece. You hold, you control your child. Leave it, I'll buy it, I'll give it to you later. After going home, I'll give you one. Let him eat that. You're controlling. You're not letting them be free for their wills and all. Now, happiness. What is happiness? Happiness is achieving it's accomplished in several ways. It may be due to an individual making reasonable progress towards the realization of goal, and as a result from positive input into the 5 different sensories, that is like this is a sensory system, that is hearing, how what you hear, what you smell, your vision, how you see the things, when you feel the touch, and then the taste of it, that gives you a pleasure. Now suppose you are being you are not in a very good mood that day, and somebody comes to you, a good friend of you comes to you and just give you a surprise gift. How do you feel? Automatically your mood change from being sad, maybe not for extended time, but for that couple of minutes, you can see that emotional shift in yourself. Now, being happy can be learned. Children can discover within themselves attitudes and method of coping with everyday life and challenges that cause them to be happy. Now, the satisfaction they feel stimulate the pleasure center. Now, the brain, which is in turn release chemical that sustain the feeling of elation. Now, fear. This is the another emotion that most of the children face. Now, being fearful and learning to cope up with those fear is the major part of emotion. So, डर रहे हो and how you are coping up with that fear. Now suppose you have an examination and you have that fear, you are not prepared. How am I going to write that exam? You have that fear. But the major part of the emotion is when you deal with it, how you're coping up with it, what are the strategies that you're going to apply for it. Now,
implementing meaning.
so now fear may be real, or it can be real, or you may like you have an imagination, your perception, how you perceive it. Fear is a protective response, as the child must decide either to fight or to flight. Should I run away or stay and face the situation? Now, suppose a child, there was a very beautiful vase in your house, and like your child by mistake breaks it. Now the child has that fear because it's an beautiful vase, which is very much like your you as a mother is very much attached to it, and you always keep telling your child to it's a मतलब बहुत ज़्यादा ये value का है, don't touch it, टूट जाएगा. And then by mistakenly अगर आपका बच्चा उसको तोड़ देता है, then they start having that fear. And now when mother is going to see this, how she is going to respond? Either she is going to hit her, either she is going to scold her. So with this, either the child will stand there, deal with the situation, or they may flight, they may run away from the situation. Now, the emotions of fear is first exhibit early in infancy. The baby express reaction of fear to loud noise, suddenly movement, or of the sensation of being dropped. Now around 8 months, child become fearful in social situation involving strangers or being separated from parents. As the child's mobility increase through crawling, they may become fearful of heights or new sounds. The toddler may fear the dark, animal, stories, monster, imaginary creatures. Where do they all learn this from? Mostly the serials, the TV that they watch. They start creating that imaginary stories in their mind, imaginary friends. They start creating that imaginary monsters and all, and they start telling, "वहाँ से भूत आ रहा, monster is coming," and all those kind of stories. The focus of the caregiver regarding the toddler's fear must be of twofold. The toddler must learn to confront imaginary fears. Now, but learning to understand the real and reasonable fears such as strangers, fire, and height. Now, the older age, school age children develop new fear based on life's reality. Now, for the children, it's like their imaginary world, what they see, and how they are being treated. That they create a fear out of it. For the older students, the reality of life, when they grow old, as they pass through the phases, they come to certain experiences. That experiences and life realities create a fear in them. Now, suppose such as like some kind of distractions, divorce between the parents, death of the near one. Now, child need honest answer and enough information to clarify concerns and calm these real fears. Now they learn about and after and are afraid of supernatural things. This is time to monitor the TV watching. Now, if your child keeps watching the horror serials most of the time, so the imagination and the thoughts that keep lingering is as same as what they have actually been seeing. Anger, and this is completely normal, usually healthy human emotion. Anger usually results from feeling of hurt, threatened, or frustrated in some way. Now, to child help a child deal with anger, we can just give them certain techniques to control this emotion. So now it's a very common one, counting to 10. Anger release strong chemicals such as adrenaline into the bloodstream and affects judgment. Now teach the child to take a couple of minutes to calm down. That you can just teach them the breathing exercise, like breathing in for 10 times, and then you can see that the anger slowly and gradually reduce to the. They may need to put some space between them and then the person that made them angry, so that they have that space and they start thinking about it. Now suppose two children are fighting, siblings for example are fighting. So instead of getting into and putting them apart just like that, give them some space to understand things. Give them space to understand the situation, so that after a couple of minutes, definitely, like when you give them, separate the both the persons who are angry with each other. Slowly they start, like that mental block that happens during when you are angry slowly comes down, and then you can start they can start thinking what they have done. It goes just like a movie in front of them. This is what has happened, he told me this, she told me this, and this is what I have done. So then they start judging themselves whether they are right, they are wrong, or whether the opposite person is right or wrong. Now the goal is not to suppress anger but to express it is in non-aggressive way. Blaming, accusation, threats, physical contacts, and name calling are aggressive response. Verbal communication is a passive and a far more effective way to respond in the midst of conflict. Now, sadness and depression. Now, these are all negative emotions. Anger, jealousy, rivalry, these are all negative emotions. When you are holding on these kind of emotions for a long time, it is going to affect in depression. Now, period of sadness are to be expected in children and it's normal. But most are resilient in memories of distress situation. It fades away over time and have little or no longer impact. So as the time goes, either it fades away or it doesn't have any impact. But if it is serious thing, then definitely today or tomorrow they have some kind of consequences will arise, and you have to face them. Now the symptoms of depression: frequent sad look. When you look at the child was very jolly and the child used to play a lot, and suddenly you see that it's like when you look at the child looks gloomy, sad. Then he or she cries often and frequently talk about sad thoughts and memories. क्या होगा अगर ऐसे हो जाएगा, तो all negative kind of thoughts. Now trouble concentrating, prone to angry outbursts for every single thing. They get irritated, they shout, and then difficulty finding enjoyable activities. Even though that activity is of the child's choice, you take it the child there, but the child is not happy. Now, changing in eating habit, sleep disturbance, suffering unexplained daytime fatigue, difficulty with peers, relationships, school avoidance, they don't want to go to school, or school phobia, change in home relationship and interaction, a desire to be alone most of the time, chronic physical complaints, declining school performance, and poor self-esteem. Just a second. Yeah. Now, the hereditary inconsistent parenting and exposure to negative ways of viewing the world can lead to increased incidence of sadness, and excessive prolonged sadness will change into depression. Now, to control all this, depression and all, a child will definitely be needing a security blanket. Now, security is one of the child's most basic need, ranking just above the food, water, and shelter. The child who uses the security blanket is balancing the need of security with the desire of independence. The security friend is an important way the child has to soothe himself. The way his parents used to soothe him as an infant with a security friend, the child is in control. Now, the child is doing the holding, the friend is a source of warmth and comfort. So there the child feels secure. Now children often find the need for a security friend between the age of 15 to 18 months. Holding it is often accompanied by a rhythmic movement such as rocking thumb sucking, or hair trailing. The attachment may be temporary or intense and last for years. Most children drop this psychological dependence long before the age of 5. Now, research show no psychological difference in people who had or did not have a security friend during childhood. Now, these all consequences lead to stress. Stress can be positive and as well as negative. It can be a reaction to an extinct or important event such as a major test or being sporting event. This kind of stress within limit is positive and can help change a person to do their best. Now, stress, some of them are negative, distress, and can cause feeling of fear, hopelessness, worry, anxiety, and doubt. Now here it goes from mild or moderate levels of distress or normal, and are needed to teach children coping skills. Intense feelings of distress can interfere with a person's ability to function normally. Now, common causes of stress in children includes conflict with others, poor health or unhealthy habits, having an overly full schedule, major life changes such as divorce, death, and moving from one place to other. Now, what are the symptoms of stress? Just give me a second. The brain releases stress hormones, one of which is called cortisol. Now, a child under stress may exhibit one or more signs. So, it's not like that each child will be having all these signs, but it may be like, some children will be having one or two, or some may show more than that. So, loss of interest in previous enjoyed activity. So, the child used to like one particular activity, but slowly they lose interest. Then the child was very quiet, and all of a sudden, like, you see a change in the child, like for every small thing the child start crying and screaming. Then verbal or physical aggressiveness, like, shouting at the shouting back for small things, and then hitting, biting, these all again. Cruelty to pets and playmates. I have observed this with my little one. So, due to certain things, I was not able to give a proper attention because of my work and all. So, what I have seen, it started like hitting the pet. We have a cat at home, so it started like, just to gain my attention towards her, or the stress what she was going through was not in my notice. So, she started hitting cat to just show me, like, because she verbally can't say, she was just 2 years old and she verbally can't express her emotion. So that is how she showed that I'm feeling like, stressed with the kind of, attention that I'm getting. Now, physical symptoms such as rapid heartbeat, headaches, fatigues, restlessness, upset stomach or neck pain, loss of humor or sense of joy. Now, the child used to be like very jolly, very like, cracking jokes every now and then. All of a sudden, like, the child becomes serious. Now, nightmares, children getting up with the nightmares. Then couple of children, the parents complain that they walk in sleep or grinding their teeth. These are all the symptoms of stress. So you'll not find all the symptoms in one particular person. They may be like, different from person to person, from individual to individual. Now, hair twisting, biting, stuttering, stammering. The child, I have actually come across a case wherein, like, the child was up to 4 years, used to speak normally. Then they suddenly, the parents actually have been to one of the place wherein as a guest for a couple of days. And once they were back from there, some 15 days after coming back from that particular place, the mother started noticing that the child started stammering, stuttering whenever he's speaking. Earlier he was very fluent. So these all, like, you don't know what has happened. You don't know what situation the child has gone through. So they started showing these kind of symptoms for the stress they are going through. Excessive fidgeting, threats to harm someone or destroy their property, immersion in computers, too much of indulgence in the computer, TV, or phones and all, jumpingness or fear for sudden sounds. Now, if they listen to some sound, suddenly they start getting scared. Now, a child can only release stress and maintain emotional well-being when they feel completely safe to express themselves. So we have to give the children that space to speak. The need to feel emotionally safe is therefore closely related to need for freedom of self-expression. Now, your feeling and the child feeling of safety is completely different. We assume as elders, we think like, what we feel safe is safe for a child. It is not safe for a child. Your perception differs, your child's perception also differs from yours. Though they belong to you, they are your own children, but your perception, you take it for anything, is completely different from the child's perception. What you feel safe, child will not feel safe about it. You just feel this uncle is safe for you, but the child knows very well that this uncle is not safe for me. So they know, they can sense that safety. Now, the freedom of expression is not identical for a child and for a parent. You have to be caring and kind listener to your child, no matter how he or she express himself or herself. Now, recently, like, I have taken my daughter to a nearby park. So there, like, she was playing on her own. She was sliding down. So two other children came and they had asked her to play with her, and she was completely quiet. She didn't respond to them. And then she came and she hugged me after. Quickly, she just ran towards me and she hugged me. And then I asked her, why didn't you play with them? I asked them, okay, you want to play with them? So she said, I don't want to play. So I didn't force her for playing. I gave her that space for her because she has her own identity. She knows what she wants. She knows what she can express. Now she's grown up, so she knows what she has a self-expression. So whether she want to play with that particular person or she don't want to play with that particular person. So we have to give that space to the child and listen to the expression that they have. Now, what behavior according to you is inappropriate or appropriate? Now, every day in a small way, our children ask, do you hear me? Do you see me? Because we are so busy, we hardly listen to our children. They hardly matter to us. Now, in a house where 4 people are living, okay, husband, wife, 2 children, hardly we see everybody is sitting together and talking. Mother has a phone, she is busy over phone, father is having a phone, busy over phone. There is no emotional bonding between the parents and the children. Even in the siblings, if you see, everybody has phone. You go to a relative's house, there you see, like, you are going for a family meet. There you see all, grandchildren, everyone sitting with their phone. Where have you been? I've been to my grandmother's house. What were you doing there? I was chatting with my friend over the phone. You have no time for your own relatives when you go. You're so busy with your own things. Now, their behavior often reflects on our response. A child must know that he or she is a miracle, that they are unique. Since the beginning of the world, there hasn't been, and until the end of the world, there will not be another child like him. So each individual is born unique. You, I, nobody matches. Everybody has a unique personality. Everybody has space in this world, and everybody is a miracle to the world, to the universe. And you need to make the child understand that he and she, whoever it is really very important to us. Now, a naughty child doesn't exist. A child who acts out is simply a child with unmet needs. So some needs which are not met, that they show it in a form of their behavior. They can't verbally express what they are going through. So what they do, they show it through their actions. Now being naughty and doing something will grab your attention. Now normally if you just sit around, you will not give attention to a normal thing that is happening. Your child is doing some normal act and you are not giving any attention. But once the same child is doing something very naughty, he is just making some kind of noise, he's just trying to throw something or disturb any child, hit anybody, what is happening? You are giving your attention. So in order to get that attention, they are doing that act. It's not that they are naughty, they're trying to grab your attention, they are trying to pull you towards them so that you give them some time, some space, the needs which are unmet. They want to fill up their those emotional tanks in them. Now it is easier to build strong children than to repair broken adults. So now being a counselor, I come across many people. So I have dealt with the cases right from children up to adults. So what I have seen, what we go through in the childhood have an effect, if not today, tomorrow when we grow up, or it may happen like adulthood, or it may happen in old age. So I have dealt with the cases wherein like I have seen it is really very difficult, no, not impossible but difficult to deal with such cases who have stagnated themselves, who have unmet needs, who have those broken childhood days. It's really very difficult to repair those wounds. Now remember, everyone in the classroom or at home has a different story that leads to misbehavior. It's not that they are wantedly doing it. There is something behind it. We need to find out what exactly it is. Now, in 10 stories, you will see 9 stories behind the misbehavior. It will not make you angry. It will break your heart when you listen to the child, when you make the child sit with you and try to understand why the child is behaving this way. Why is the child doing this way? When you sit and talk to the child, you will understand the depth. So now, we all have emotional cups and we know how to fill it. Now, some ways the children deal with having an empty cups. Now, stealing from others. We often listen like, from the teachers, like the children, he is stealing eraser from his bag. उसने उसका book ले लिया, उसका book छुपा लिया, and all these kind of complaints we get from even at home, like when the child goes to some relative house, whatever they like, they slowly take it, put it in the pocket and get it home. Now misbehaving to get your attention and show that they need a refill. So they start misbehaving because normal behavior we don't give attention to. So when a child misbehaves, we definitely give attention. So they misbehave and show you, yeah, I need your attention. Now seems to have bottomless cups or need constant topping off. Now they can't sit still for refilling or actively refuse them. Now, bounce off the wall when they approach empty. Now, when they are like, they have that emotional void in themselves. They withdraw themselves from certain things. Think they have to fight or completely compete for every refill. Now they think like, if I want this, I have to fight for it. Otherwise, I'm not going to get it. Now, what empties a child's cup? Stress and strain, rejection by peer group, friends and all, loneliness and isolation, yelling and punishments. We feel like, when we punish the child, we feel, okay, chalo isko is par punish kar diya na, next time ye nahi karega. No. The child will definitely, either the child will revolt or child will suppress themselves. Failing, fatigue, doing what they hate. Now, what fills a child's cup? That is filling child's emotional need. Now, it is not attention that the child is seeking. They don't want that attention. They want love, unconditional love from you all, from the parent, from the teachers, from the people around. Now, discover your child's love language. Now, what is the love language? Does love really have a language? Yes, it do have. Now, use the love languages to correct and discipline your child more effectively. Build a foundation of unconditional love for your child. Now, we use word love a lot and in many ways. Now, psychologists have concluded that the need of to feel loved is primary human emotional need. So, among all the emotional need, love is the primary human emotional need. Children and adults need to feel accepted. Now, if you feel accepted, you will feel love and you will feel complete. But when you are not loved, you feel that void, that space in yourself. Now, there are 5 love languages: word of affirmation, quality time, receiving gift, act of service, and physical touch. Now, there's a small test. If you can just grab a paper and a pen, if you have,
Participants, you're requested to grab a sheet of paper for this activity so that you can explore the session more.
And you'll be more happier to learn more about this when you start learning about the people around. Start learning how your children, what's the language, the primary language of love of your child, your spouse. You can test on your spouse as well. Yes, you can test your parents, your siblings. So this is the 5 love language test. Now here there is each pair of statement. You have to choose the one, any one out of it. Now suppose the question is 1, you have to choose any one out of it, A or E. So for example, A is, I like to receive notes of affirmation. Think about a person in your mind, okay? Person, or think about your own self so that you can know that your which language you is the primary language for you. Okay, so now suppose if it is A, I like to receive notes of affirmation from you. Then E, I like it when you hug me. For B, second one, I like to spend one-on-one time with you. And then the second for B for it is, I feel loved when you give me practical help. Third, I like it when you give me gifts. Then I like taking long walks with you. The fourth is, I feel loved when you do things to help me. You have to write 1 and A or E, 2, B or D, whatever applies for the person you have kept in your mind, either you yourself or your child or anybody else. So the fourth one is, I feel loved when you do things to help me. I feel loved when you hug or touch me. I feel loved when you hold me in your arms. I feel loved when I receive a gift from you. I like to go places with you. I like to hold hands with you. I feel loved when you acknowledge me. Visible symbol of love. Those are the gifts that are important to me. I think everybody is done with slide 1 to 7. Can you just put your answers in
Participants,
the chat?
please.
Participants,
Yeah.
if you have done with it.
Yes, ma'am. They are putting S in the chat box. You can move on to next slide.
Okay. Now, the eighth one is, I like to sit close to you. I like it when you tell me that I'm attractive. I like to spend time with you. I like to receive gifts from you. I know you love me when you help me. Your words of acceptance are important to me. I like to be together when we do things. I like the kind word you say to me. I feel whole when we hug. What you do affects me more than what you say. I value your praise and try to avoid criticism. Several inexpensive gifts means more to me than one large expensive gift. I feel closer to you when you touch me. I feel closer when we are talking or doing something together. I like you to compliment my achievement. I know you love me when you do things for me that you do not enjoy. So I'm just changing the slide. Is that okay?
Participants, are you done with this slide? Yes, ma'am. There.
Yeah. Now, the next is, I like for you to touch me when you walk by. I like when you listen to me sympathetically. I really enjoy receiving gifts from you. I feel loved when you help me with my home projects. I like when you compliment my appearance. I feel loved when you take the time to understand my feelings. I feel secure when you are touching me. Your act of service make me feel loved. I appreciate the many things you do for me. I like receiving gifts that you make. I really enjoy the feeling I get when you give me your undivided attention. I really enjoy the feeling I get when you do some act of service for me. I feel love when you celebrate my birthday with a gift. I feel love when you celebrate my birthday with meaningful words written on it or spoken. I think everybody has done, right? Sandhya, I just changed the slide. It's okay? Anybody still writing?
Participants, can you just give us your reply?
Yeah. So the next slide.
Yes, ma'am. Then.
I feel love when you help me out with my course. I know you are thinking of me when you give me a gift. I appreciate it when you remember special days with a gift. I appreciate it when you listen patiently and don't interrupt me. I enjoy extended trips with you. I like to know that you are concerned enough to help me with my daily tasks. Kissing me unexpectedly makes me feel loved. Giving me a gift for no occasion makes me feel loved. I like to be told that you appreciate me. I like for you to look at me when we are talking. Your gifts are always special to me. I feel love when you kiss me. I feel love when you tell me how much you appreciate me. I feel love when you enthusiastically do a task I have requested. I need to be hugged by you every day. I need your words of affirmation daily. So these are the 30 questionnaire. So you have to select the answers. Once you have selected the answer, now count how many A's you have selected, how many B's you have selected, C, D and E. Now suppose if your counting C is more when compared to the other. So the first priority, the first quality of love that you, the gesture that you like is receiving gifts from other. Now if it is word of affirmation, then it comes, suppose like 10 is for receiving gifts, you have got 10 number there. Then you have got 5 for word of affirmation there. Then you have got 3 for quality time. So depending upon your total, your the sequence of your one sequence comes. Okay, so you prioritize receiving gifts first, then word of affirmation, then the physical touch, and then the quality time. Suppose physical touch is more, then you prioritize getting physical touch more than the any other things. So now after doing the assessment, you will get to know which area is most required for your child. Now cuddle me and chase me. If your kid is like that, so they want physical touch. So in that, what you can do for your child to fill their emotional tanks, to fill their emotional cups, you have to hug them daily, tap them on the back, hold their hands while walking through the store when you're going to some supermarket, or just hold their hand and take them along with you. Snuggle up and read together. Make a child sit with you and then read. Then show them that you also enjoy cuddling time. Just give them a hug. And it doesn't matter what age they are. Now suppose if it is a school, you can't just give a hug to an older child. So you just can tap him on his back, hold his hand, make him give that physical touch, so that the child feel safe, and the child feel happy. Now the presence pleases. So now if the present please your child, then your child has the love language of receiving gifts. And if this is your child, then you have to what you can do is just keep giving your child simple gift. Don't give them too many, otherwise you will spoil them. Surprise gift you can give them. You can arrange some surprise party for your child. Then when they do something good, reward them with some gifts. Then you can play treasure hunt. You can just keep something for them hidden somewhere and let the child search for it. Then leave notes in the room. That can also be a kind of gift for them. Leave a note like I love you, you know, you are my best son, you are my best daughter. Or when you are correcting the books also of the children, when you correct, yes, you are a superstar, oh you rock, you have done extremely good, anything. Not just giving good, very good, but adding more words to it, more affirmations to it, will give a different feel to the child. Then give them extra candy in the lunch. Then you can buy them some special dress on some special occasion, even if it is not an occasion. If you have that much, you can go ahead and then buy a special gift for the child. Then words of affirmation, that is it. Then act of service, you do it for me. Now the child is expecting that you do something for the child. Now in that, cleaning up the room, then keeping the things in the place. Now the child played for some time and you're keeping up the things in the place. It's not spoiling the child, doing it together and doing it for them, so that they feel that they belong to, they are wanted, they are safe, they are like, do I say, uh, they should feel that happiness. Then when they are doing some projects, sit with them, help them out with the project. Whatever they are doing, volunteer together with the child. Teach them something. Teaching, when they are sitting and studying, you can sit with the child and teach the child. Now, quality time. Come here, look at this. Now your child mostly want you to come, ask you to come and sit with you, or they may ask you to come and sit with them, and they want to show you something. So that's the child who need most of the quality time with you. So spending quality time together doesn't mean like you be on phone and the child is on phone. Spending quality time is keeping everything apart, sitting with your child completely, sitting with the person, whoever is it, sitting with them completely, and then talking about yourself and them, not about how did you, what did you do from the morning, homework kar liya kya, how did you do your project. Not all this. Quality time is talking about the child, how you interacting with them in a different way, uh, sharing your emotions, sharing, understanding their emotions, going on a walk with the children, then reading a storybook. Sit with a child, read a storybook, or then cooking together. You're baking a cake, make a child be a part of it, do it together. Then riding a bike, riding a cycle, then watching a movie or a serial, do it together. So these are the basic five emotional tanks that has uh, to be fulfilled. Now, we worry about what a child will become tomorrow. That's the greatest worry about of all the parents, that I don't know what my child is going to be tomorrow, whether he or she will become something, whether he or she will do something. But we forget that he is someone today. Children don't need much advice, but they really do need to be listened to, and not just with half ear. Remind yourself why education is useful. It is love that children and the world need. A deeply loved child with only some education will go much further than a well educated child who is lacking love. Asking kids to meet target or standardized test is like making them to meet a sales quota. Our kids are not commodities. We feel like, when I'm paying this huge amount to the school and I want my child to, if I'm paying 3 lakhs, I want my child to get 80-90%. So you're putting a child in sale quota. I'm spending this much, so I want this much in return. Now, love is the greatest gift you can give ever. You can give it to your child. To all the mothers out there who cannot afford to give their children expensive food, clothing, toys, don't worry about it. These are just the materialistic things. But what your child needs is your love, support, and encouragement. Materialistic things will not last for long. It will be for a time. What lasts long is your love, your support, and encouragement for your child. Thank you very much.